My name is Luke Griffin, and I own a company called Reach Giant. I joined BMI in July 2024, and it's now the end of January 2025. So I've been with BMI around 7 months. I did a video in September 2024 when I hit my 40,000 mark. When I originally started BMI, in July 2024, my revenue was around 21,000. It was fluctuating slightly to 24 to 19. It was going back and forth slightly, but really around 21. In September, I think it was September the 17th, 2024, I did my first video with Alex and the BMI team about how I'd scaled from 21 to 40,000. At that time, and being very, very specific, it was kind of fluctuating between like 42 and 37. And it always does that. No matter which benchmark I hit, it kind of just fluctuates. Sometimes you lose a client, sometimes you gain one. But it was approximately 40,000. That was in September 17. It's now January the 31st, 2025. So September, October, November, December, January. So four to 5 months after my first video. And my revenue is now at $85,000 a month. It has fluctuated the past kind of 3 weeks or so between 77 and 87, but it's around 85 right now. So I've doubled since the last call. I originally talked about why I went from 21 to 40, and I just couldn't believe that I doubled, to be honest. It was quite interesting back then. And now to think that I've doubled again, it is fascinating. And I wouldn't say anything's changed really since the 40 to 80K. I've just really learned more. The mentors at BMI, there's so many of them. Tim, Fritz, Damiano, Christoph, there's tons of them, tons of amazing people that actually coach. I actually even coach myself now once a month. I focus mostly on sales, but that's a separate thing. After I hit the 40K, Alex asked me if I would do a coaching call once a month, which I said yes. But what I think changed from 40 to 80 is a couple of things. Our lead gen systems are excellent. The way that we work those in BMI and the systems that we have in place to follow are very, very good. I started to refine those over time. It was a lot in the beginning because when you first join BMI, you have a course to follow, which is pretty in depth, which is a good thing. We have so many videos and so many tutorials, and it's a lot. So I had to sift through that carefully and kind of figure out, what I needed and what made sense. And in the beginning, it's new to you, right? So it took me a while to warm up. But once I figured out the lead gen systems of what they're trying to say, and the coaches really started to teach me about what I needed to do, things started to pick up even more. And I think the reason why I went from 40 to 80 was a couple of things. A couple of my coaches in BMI, I think specifically Damiano with this one, spoke to me about how to really organize my team better, how to have people doing the right things and getting, more structure and more flow. So I'm kind of bouncing around here, but there's so many things to learn when you're trying to scale. I have 8 employees, so I didn't start with 8. I had like 2 when I joined BMI, but we've obviously grown, so I've been pulling more people in. But managing that team is one thing on its own. So the coaches really helped me to start managing people, which I didn't really know how to do. So that was good. So that really helped. The other thing that really helped with scale was I started to charge more. And I spoke about this in my last video, but Paris really helped me with this in the beginning. And I keep calling out names, but there's so many mentors in BMI. There's so many absolute rock stars. And I mean that. People that have really been there and done it. You can't find people like this anywhere, really. I've hired a coach before for like 150 an hour that was trying to help me with business. They have no idea how an agency works, how lead gen works. BMI is so specific and so niche because we're all doing Google ads. We might be doing AI, we might be doing Webflow or Framer, or we're all in that tech world. It's the same thing. It's lead gen, sales, how to organize your business. There's so many things that are just so specific to our micro environment of an agency and lead gen that BMI are just gold. I said this again in my $40,000 video. BMI has been absolutely incredible for me. Anyone who's joining can ask Alex to speak to me directly, and I will. I will jump on a Zoom call with you, like Paris did for me in the beginning, and I will tell you how things work for me, because BMI has a system to help you with every problem in an agency: building the brand, understanding sales, which is massive. They have a sales protocol, and I teach on sales now myself, and I've learned my own things that work. But we have the mentors, people that have run teams, run systems. We have an understanding of different lead gen platforms that are really important, because knowing how to get good leads is important. Knowing how to vet people, all of this stuff all comes together, and we're all working on a daily basis. We have a private Facebook group where we all talk in a really intimate way, which nobody else can join except if you're a BMI member. And we ask each other questions there. We have problems like where to hire, how to do this. I've had a problem here, I've had a problem there. And everybody jumps in and helps. Like, this is a really intimate group. And when I first joined BMI, I really couldn't understand why everyone was like that. I thought, well, why wouldn't you just join BMI, double your money, and then go off into the sunset, right? I didn't quite understand why all these really high earning people were sticking around. And now, as being one of those people that's gone from 20 to 40 and now to 80, and now my goal is to get to 100 and then 150, and I know I can do it with BMI. I realize why people stay with BMI long term, and there's a reason for it. It's because of the community. Because when you're running an agency, you've got to work hard, but it's easy enough to scale, but then you have to maintain. There's more problems that come along. So when I'm at 80K now, I have more problems. Like, how do I maintain my team? How do I hire someone? I can reach out to Alex anytime. I can reach out, Damiano on a call. I can reach out to Christoph or Paris or any of these guys in BMI that never leave, and we help each other. And it's a community. It's a tribe. And I didn't really understand that until I became part of it. I'm a big advocate for BMI. I honestly think it's the best agency community in the world. There's over 200 of us, all actively A players. Everyone in BMI are working hard. There is nobody in there that joins BMI to hopefully get some kind of free ride. That's why when you look at BMI and you see people, some of the people that I look to, which sounds insane, like going from 100K to 200K a month, and then some of the big boys going to 400,000 a month, it just sounds almost unrealistic. But you realize once you get in here why they're doing that, because we're working as a network. I did my first business in 2007, which was like a surf school. Long story. I didn't get into the tech stuff till 2014 or so, but I accelerated since BMI in the last 7 months. The reason being is because I always worked alone. I was doing things on my own, trying to figure things out. How do I get leads? How do I do this? How do I do that? I didn't understand it. But when people have been there and done it, like for someone like me who's doing 80,000, if somebody joins that's doing 5,000 a month, I can just say, hey, listen, get someone to do the work, do this, do that, maybe do this with your sales, listen more. Really simple things that are gold. And that's what they did to me. And that's why I've scaled. I mean this sincerely. I would not have scaled if I didn't join BMI. There is no way. When I look back on 21K, I am so grateful, like hand on my heart, to Alex and all the team at BMI, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have scaled. When you join, you find out how we do things. We have processes, we have systems, we have tricks, we have tips. We have all kinds of things in here that we're all learning together, and we share. And that's another thing that I couldn't quite understand. If somebody is doing well, why would you be telling others? And that's another thing that I've learned since I joined BMI. The reason we share is quite easy, because there's a massive pool of clients out there, millions of them, and we're a small group of 200. So there might be 5 or 10 of us that do Framer or do Webflow or do AI. There might be a couple of us, but we work as a unit because we're not really encroaching on each other's space. We're just learning together and getting stronger, because there's a lot of clients out there, and we kind of work together as kind of like an army to get those clients, if that makes sense. They were questions I just had personally when I joined. Okay, why would anyone stick around? Why would we share knowledge? I didn't understand, but now I've been here for 7 months. That's why. What has changed in my results is that I'm closing more sales. I'm getting on calls. I'm more confident. I have a system that I use that I followed from BMI, and I have tweaked to myself, which has allowed me now to become a BMI coach. So if you do join BMI, I will be coaching there as well, and I will be teaching you things that I've learned and sharing exact things that I've learned. I mean, we share our screens, we tell each other tricks and tips. The other thing that I think is putting my prices up, learning how to manage my company. They really have helped me with lead gen. Like that's something that BMI are incredible at. They know how to get leads. They have systems and tricks and tips that they've spent years refining. We're working as a network to understand really how to lock down lead gen. And that is one of the big things, because if I wasn't bringing in leads regularly, last week I did over 20 sales calls. So you can imagine if you're doing 20 sales calls and you just book 20%, 10%, you're growing pretty quick. So that's another big reason why I'm growing, in all honesty. It's the systems that they've given me to know how to get leads, which when I was working by myself was a lot more difficult. So that's really what helped me grow from 40 to 80. Excellent lead gen, an excellent support network, just a world-class support network, systems and processes that are extremely well thought out over years that help, and just that network. And all when you put all that together, even if you're coming in here starting at 4, 5, 10 grand a month, we're going to be able to look at that business and say, okay, listen, you're doing that, but if you tweak here and you do this, you increase lead gen here and you tighten up this and you do this and this and this, you're going to be able to do this. And then maybe we're like, hey, you should increase this price. You should do this. You should try this on a sales call. And these little things, they turn out to be very big. So, and it did for me. I'm going to end the call there anyway. This is my $80,000 call, January the 31st, 2025. My next one, I'll be shooting for my 100K. I'm shooting for 150K after that. I couldn't be happier. I talk to my wife every day about how much I enjoy BMI. It's like the best thing that ever happened to me. I respect Alex so much. I realize what everyone else respects Alex. He started this from the ground up. What people don't realize when you join BMI is that you get all of us. So initially, you're coming through Alex and BMI, but what you're really doing is you're going into a portal, into a network that is extremely tight and closed to the general public that you've bought into. And once you do that, you have all of our loyalty, all of our knowledge, and we start sharing with you. So you get all of us. And that's why it's so good. If any of you are out there on the figures that I talked about, whether it's 10K, 20K, 30K a month, and you want to scale, there is no better decision that you could make than join BMI. There is, in my opinion, there's just nothing you could do, because we're all doing this on a daily basis and we're all learning and evolving daily and using all of the wisdom from all of us to tackle this as a tribe, as a unit, trying to find out all those clients out there in the world. That's my testimonial, and I hope that helps. Anyone, please feel free to ask Alex if you want to speak to me personally. No problem at all. I highly recommend you join. Thank you so much for listening.